on this call is Stephanie Vadnais and Alana Pearson, if you guys don't know who they are. So thank you again for joining us on your lunch break. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. Hey, hold on. That's not what I wanted, right? Or what do you guys see?
Yep, it looks good. The present button is up on the upper right.
Oh, perfect. There.
Yep.
Okay, perfect. Okay. So I guess if you have time, go ahead and put on I guess let's see, who do we have here? Two,
We have
right?
Sarah and LaRon.
Ron.
Yep.
Okay.
Oh, and Reeve is joining. I'll let her in.
So maybe just tell us where you're from and just quick who you are and where you're from. If you want to.
Do you want us to put it in the chat, or you want us to
No,
talk to you?
you in the chat you can go ahead and put what you're hoping to get out of today's presentation, but otherwise just unmute yourself and just tell us who you are and who what organization you represent, where you're from.
Okay. My name's LaRon Henderson. I'm from Nebraska Children. I'm from Collective for Youth. Collective for Youth.
What?
We went too far.
I used to be.
Okay.
My name's Sarah Meyer, and I'm from Alliance, Nebraska. I'm the child care director at the Recreation Center.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for being here.
I'm
And-
Rebe from the Alliance Recreation Center. I'm playing a little triple duty right now, so I'm also watching the front desk.
Oh,
And expecting a phone call. So if I go dark and have to step away, I apologize. I don't know if we'll get busy with customers or not. So we're a little
yeah,
short staffed today in all the areas. So
no problem. Yes, you're multitasking. Well, I know that many of you have already started planning your summer program and you're here to gather some ideas or maybe just you're starting to think about what you'd like to include in your plans. And if not, then maybe you're just starting, technically, you're just starting to go over your summer plans. But so today we're going to be covering the following: why students don't participate in summer programs, some intentional summer programming, unique summer names, some just information about rural schools in Nebraska, an example of local partners, especially in rural Nebraska, and sustainability. As far as we think about why students don't participate in summer programs, it's just important for us to ask, why aren't they attending? And as you plan for the summer, consider the following. So maybe students have financial constraints. The cost of summer programs might be a barrier. Students not aware of the program. They may not be aware that the program even exists. For example, in Lexington, where I serve programs, it'd be interesting how many times we would put in the announcements that we're having our summer program or the letters that we send out home. But yet when I ask students, are you going to, join us for the summer program? They go, I didn't even know we had a summer program. So, and then they successfully just letting them know they would sign up. So it's just amazing how many students are not aware of the program as much as you do marketing and it just for some reason it isn't until you make that contact with them and letting them know about being aware of what you have offering for them. Student might have transportation issues. It might be that the program is held at a distant location and requires the family to take the student to the program, and perhaps the family doesn't have reliable transportation. Students may have families responsibilities. We seem to see that a lot, that they may need to work, help care for siblings or just other obligations. There might be limited availability of programs. There may not be enough programs available in the area or in the community. They may just not have, those students may just not have the adequate support, meaning that students with just a disability or they qualify for special education, there might just be the lack of accommodations to support for those students. And of course, also students that have a language barrier, that certain programs lack the support for English language learners. And that's sadly, I've seen that a lot where we just don't take into consideration that there might not be an intentional program for those English language learners. Also, students feeling disconnected. You'd be amazed how many students just don't want to try anything new. They just have, low self-esteem, social anxiety, or lack just the confidence in their abilities to try something. And so they just rather not participate in this summer programming. And then students from certain cultural backgrounds that just don't feel comfortable in certain environments. So I know we're all here because our goal is always to provide children and youth, regardless of their background, income, and whether they live in the urban community or rural area, with just access to high quality learning experience. But at times, these barriers that I went over are overlooked. So we need to be intentional about our summer programming for students, and that means creating a plan that aligns with their interests and provides enrichment opportunities and help them grow academically, socially, and emotionally. So keep these in mind. So programs that align with student interests, like students surveying the students to understand their interests and designing an activities that are engaging so that students remain motivated. Beyond School Bells created a resource. Stephanie created a resource that you can, and you may have seen it. I think all of you have access to it here. That it's pretty much it's a creative way for students to be engaged in having a student voice and what they like to see in your program and summer learning as well. Um, Also, no cost or low level cost options. So seeking those funding sources or partnerships within the community to provide free or affordable programming. We'll give you some examples here later on this call. And then again, providing those enrichment opportunities that just programs and classes or clubs, whatever, that offer a variety of learning experience that go beyond the traditional classroom, such as field trips, guest speakers, interactive workshops, where just students can explore new skills like coding, art workshops, like Camping 101. That's great to do. I did that in Lexington where, um, we were able to do it during the summer. Obviously, we can't do it during the school year because, we just needed a nice day and we kind of moved it towards the alley so that we could do some setting up tents and lighting up a fire, which it was safe. Biking, those type of things where we had students bring their bikes or we borrowed bikes or we rented them and we brought in somebody to fix some of the bikes that they had at home that weren't working. And so that was just really nice to go around town and look at different, I guess you could say areas of the community that have never been explored on a bike. Outdoor recreation, and then just some gardening projects that could be done during the summer. The fostering academic growth, that's including math and reading and science activities that are fun and educational, but not overly academic in structure. And so just providing those opportunities for STEM challenges and like maybe some writing workshops. Also, programs that support social and emotional growth. Thinking of what you have in place that might integrate some team building activities that focuses on communication, problem solving, and then collaboration. Maybe you want to allow some of those activities that incorporate some mindfulness practices and builds on positive relationships. And then this just encourages those sense of belongings. And then just again, boosting that self-confidence, that confidence and self-esteem is just really important. A lot of these students are not signing up in our summer programs because they just don't feel like they can, if their friends are not going, or they feel like they just can't do those programs or they're not going to find them fun. It's optional to some students. So again, those are really important to have in your program. Offering flexible scheduling, so balanced structured learning with free time to allow students to explore their creativity, but also making sure that the schedule isn't so rigid. So if a student wanted to come in and just take advantage of maybe 1 or 2 sessions or morning versus the afternoon, that you are allowing students to that option. That isn't all for one. You know, they're not going to lock in for that whole month or months or all day, but having that flexibility is like, you know, you come and go. You just let us know, of course, as they sign up. But if you just want to take advantage of morning sessions or, you know, afternoon or just a certain activity or club, whatever it is, or making sure that it's flexible. Also involving family community, involving families in the planning, just to make sure that programming aligns with their needs and that also what they're needing, but also what their child might be wanting to happen as far as programming, but also involving organizations, business into the programming of into your program that helps add exposure to just different community assets. And of course, staff training, providing staff development to make sure that staff are trained to work with students. So as far as the summer, we have the Wallace Foundation provided a great resource for you to check out about summer learning planning. They have resources that you can custom make. They have a planning calendar. They have sustainable tools, and they just have, it's just really, really nice tool that you can check out. And let me see if I can get that link in the chat. Hold on. Well,
We can do it for you.
oh, perfect.
Trisha, you
thank
keep going.
Thank- Okay,
I'll do it for you.
thank you. So some of the other, so as far as when we're talking about intentional summer programming, we're talking about aligning some, oh, hold on a second. Wait, never mind. Sorry. When we're talking about summer school, you know, in the past, it's always been remedial and somewhat kind of like punitive. And it's time it's been required that for certain students, but participate, and it hasn't been really for everybody inclusive. Last year, I had the opportunity to work in my role that I had before I came to Beyond School Bells. I was involved in conducting home visits. And one visit stands out in my memory, just as school had ended for summer break, and I spoke to the family, and I went to their home, and I asked the eldest son, who was a third grader, what his plans were for the summer. And glancing at his mother, he hesitated before saying he had no plans. I was unfamiliar with this district's summer school program and how they operated. So I asked the mother if he'd be participating in any program through the school or just another organization. And she explained that he hadn't been invited to the summer school, and that since both parents were working, that he'd be spending most of his days with relatives. And unfortunately, they just couldn't afford to send him to any camps. So, you know, there are some districts that, you know, it's still like kind of like it isn't like, you know, it's again that they qualify because they need the extra support as opposed to just opening it up to anybody who like to do it. So I feel passionate that we need to move away from more traditional summer school model to more of engaging enrichment learning program that involves anybody who would like to participate. So as you're making that move, or just thinking about what you're, you know, is it called summer school? Which again, it's a word that we commonly use, summer school. Just brainstorming unique names that reflect that it's not summer school, but it's you know, something that's kids are going to want to sign up for. So like here's some examples: Choosing Your Adventure, Beyond Boundaries, Elevate Summer, you know, the Great Summer Escape, Golden Day Camps. Those are all names that I think I'd love to go participate in. Does anybody else have any cool names that you used or heard of? Summer Exploration. I think I called it once making the most of summer. So just keeping that in mind. So we're going to take a look at a video here, and I think we have time. Or do we? Maybe not.
We're at
have a-
12:47.
Yep, 13 minutes.
We
Okay.
can, We could do a little bit of it and then, or how much more content do you have, Patricia?
Actually, yeah, quite a bit more. So let's just kind
Okay.
of, we can send the video via chat too.
I'm gonna put it in the chat and then
Okay.
watch it. You can
Yeah.
watch it on your own. I personally love the video. I think it looks at 3 programs across Texas. I don't remember where they are, Oklahoma. It's just really neat to see the different. It's just a really, really
Let's
good
watch it.
video.
Yeah, let's go and watch it, Lena. Yeah.
Oh,
let's-
okay.
Good time. Yeah.
Do you want to watch a little bit of it?
Yeah. Good. You want to put it up and put play on there? If you have it, the link.
Sure, you'll have to, do you have it up? Otherwise, you'll have to
Oh,
give me
here.
access to share. Otherwise, you do it. Yeah, there you go.
For years, conventional wisdom tied the origin of summer vacation to the agrarian calendar. Children, so the myth went, needed summers off to help farm crops. In reality, most crops were planted in the spring and harvested in the fall, and summer vacation emerged as city families who could left town to beat the heat. This led to a new myth that summer looks the same for all kids. In fact, kids from low-income families, who often have fewer learning opportunities, lose ground academically compared to their wealthier peers. Fortunately, research is clear. High-quality summer programs can improve academics, boost attendance, and raise graduation rates. Communities like those in Oklahoma and Ohio are showing that summer learning can be productive and fun. By combining academics and enrichment, they're writing a new narrative, one that makes summer a time for growth for all young people.
Public schools is 62 square miles, give or take, and about 21,000 students. In 2014, we started to see more students of color. We started to increase in the number of languages our students spoke. And then most significant for me was the change in income. We saw a greater number of students who are experiencing poverty. That change made us think more about what we needed to do over and above the classroom. Summer feels like unclaimed space. And so I think that lends itself to, more creative use of time.
Our summer school in Akron has this enrichment and academic piece that it's not all academics and it's not all enrichment. When students have found something that they like or have an interest in, whether it's chess or robotics or gardening, they involve themselves in more programming at school too.
Good strategy, excellent.
Post-pandemic, we have a growing number of the students who are chronically absent. Getting kids back in the routine of coming to something, feeling like they're part of something, that's important too.
Word of mouth and that grassroots. This type of high quality summer programming takes an incredible amount of planning. Even now, as we're in the middle of our summer programming, I am sure we're paying attention to the lessons we're learning and using that feedback to think about what needs to occur next year. You can't get at the highest quality summer programming without being intentional about the resources that will be allocated. The way you engage with that school must be different.
When I was going to school, students who had to go to summer school were because they failed a class, they were being held back, they had done something wrong. In Akron Public Schools, we don't call it, summer school. We've switched the name to Choose Your Adventure, the summer experiences. So it's taking the summer school aspect away from it, that negative connotation. This is about your choice in it and pick something that makes sense for you.
Find evidence there.
In a normal academic classroom, I feel kind of bland, but in this environment, it makes you want to do better and want to actually learn things. If you actually learn things during the summer, when you come back to school, you're still in the groove of things. So everything just starts clicking for you way easier than it was before.
When you are doing this work right, you're engaging those who need it the most in ways that we may not be able to do during the traditional classroom setting.
Woodward Public Schools is very special to me. I grew up here going to school as a student. Glad you're here. I was a teacher here, was a principal, and this is just the place that I call home. This is home to me. We want to have a high quality summer program because we've seen what the programs are doing for our kids. Our kids are excited, and that's what we are striving for.
At the core, we have to found everything that we do on academic standards. But we're going to approach that academic standard in a way that gets kids up, gets them engaged, keeps them moving around the room.
Having our community and our parents be involved in the planning and designing of our programs has been vital. It's very important to give our students voice and choice. What things do you want to learn about? And then we take that information and see what resources we have to meet those needs. That just makes them feel a part of the team of what a summer program is about. We like to show students too that there's other things outside of Woodward.
We don't say summer school, we say summer learning program. We say Boomer Extreme. We talk about the fun things that we're going to do. We talk about hands-on learning. We talk about those things that we think our students and our parents will find engaging. And I think we have really done great work in terms of redefining what summer learning means.
We don't have a lot of resources where we're at in rural Oklahoma. So our community partnership with our Career Technology Center has been a great success.
Every Tuesday, the Woodward students load up on a bus and they come over to High Plains and they get to experience a couple hours of the programs that we offer. Anything from marketing to construction to welding to service careers. It teaches them how to pay attention, how to use their hands, how to do different things that you're not always accustomed to doing in a classroom setting.
The school is the lifeblood of a community, the very heartbeat of the community. And so I think people want to see students succeed. It's been heartwarming to see the success of our summer learning programs, to give that opportunity to our students and our families that otherwise would not have had them. Our students and families need to know that they have a voice. They need to know that they're important, that they are why we exist.
Communities like Woodward and Akron are helping us reimagine summer as a time of learning and growth by grounding us in key practices. When these strategies are in place, summer programming not only has the potential to accelerate learning, it can also engage, enrich, and advance students in ways that resonate long after summer break comes to an end. In that way, maybe summer's agrarian roots aren't so far from the mark. It is a chance, after all, to plant seeds that will grow long after summer has passed.
Nice. So I hope you enjoyed it because it's a very nice video. So I guess we all know why summer is so important, but let's just focus on just ways we can make the most of it, especially in the rural community. According to the Nebraska Rural Community School Association, over 88,000 students in Nebraska are enrolled in rural school systems, and this figure aligns with the data from the National Center for Research on Rural Education, which indicates about 30% of Nebraska students' population attends rural schools. So rural schools bring unique assets to the work of creating fun, engaging learning experiences, and they can develop just even deeper connections with their communities through community partnerships while gaining valuable knowledge and skills. So partners serve as a key part of certain programming when it comes to summer learning, whether they're supporting academic progress, providing opportunities for career exploration, hands-on learning, filling in some of those gaps, just responding to the needs and interests of students and their families, and then also helping with supplies and funding. So I made a list here of certain community partners that I have been part of, have been involved with, or even just are common within rural communities. So I'm just kind of going through some of these and just kind of giving you some ideas of how you can utilize some of these community partners that are in your community. So the local farmers, partner with those local farmers just to learn about food production and agriculture, maybe a field trip to a farm. The Farm Bureau, if you guys are familiar, they're one of our statewide partners for 21st Century Grants, and then also just they provide so much support for schools and agriculture. They also provide grants they have active grants. I haven't looked at their website, but they do have continuous mini grants. Another local co-op could provide some resources as far as when it comes to agriculture or just some food production as well. Everybody has a NRD natural resource district. Those educators visit schools. They teach about water conservation, soil health, forestry, and wildlife. They also offer field trips to wetlands, forests, and conservation sites. Your city office, your city municipal, you could partner with them to kind of offer some some beautification projects, partner with them and let them know that you want to do some community service projects. They also have access just to a lot of things that have to do with the city as far as, accessing certain, like maybe a green space that you want to have certain class or conduct like maybe a reading program there. So they might have extra funds and then also just access to those areas. Recycling centers, those are usually found in rural communities, but also, keep Nebraska Beautiful, those affiliates. They provided for us, they provided some information. They were really active. They had funding for them to do classes on recycling, reusing, reducing, making art out of those items. Field trips to the landfill. That was an eye opener. I came back and thought to myself, oh my goodness, I definitely need to recycle better because that's an eye opener. Everybody has a landfill. So just sending your students there and they do such a great job of educating and actually taking you to see the different parts of a recycling center and landfill. The Nebraska Forestry, they have access to the Project Wet Wild, the Project Wet, where you can actually take your students to a local pond and just learn about, water conservation and then just, even just learning about the critters that live in the pond. I think we took a container from the pond, brought it back, and we studied everything that lived in that pond. Nebraska Conservation, that's pretty active throughout the state. They provide resources on environmental education like water conservation, wildlife habitat recycling. They also do habitat restoration like tree planting. And then they also have AmeriCorps Common Ground. So they actually do hire AmeriCorps members. And you can go to their website and they have really good, you can actually contact one of those AmeriCorps and they might be placed in around your community. Then you have just AmeriCorps in general. So I'm not for sure what the initiative or where AmeriCorps are placed. Obviously, the Nebraska Conservation is one of them, but just if there's if other organizations have a contract with AmeriCorps members, just contact AmeriCorps, the service learning, Nebraska Service Learning Organization, seeing where else are AmeriCorps members available, and they could provide whatever the initiative might be. Otherwise, you have access to local historical society. Usually you contact your local museum and ask them about who that might be. Most small communities have those individuals that belong to some kind of society where they can share history lessons with your students or visit, you can visit the local museum. Tapping into your senior citizens in your community where, you invite your senior citizens to share stories about their upbringing or just there's just wealth of information there, and capturing that information from senior citizens and just, story, asking questions about their generation. They can read out loud to your students or share traditions. Like, for example, we had a group of ladies that would come and teach about food preservation and knitting and just, making some delicious desserts. The Sewing Guild, inviting those students, inviting those individuals that meet together to work on quilts or whatever it might be that has to do with sewing, and teaching those students embroidery or basic sewing. All of us have access. All of us have access to local artists in our community, whether they're just, to a certain degree, we're all artists. Um, Collaborate with just those talented individuals to teach skills such as, painting, woodworking, poetry, etc. Everything that has to do with that they're passionate about with the artist. And of course, you guys all have extension and 4-H involved in your area. So the nutrition education program, or they can provide STEM-based activities or 4-H access to the 4-H curriculum. You could even reach out to them to see if they would be willing for your students to exhibit what they make in your summer program at the county fair. And it may not be under the 4-H program, but it could be under like open class. So, and they might just have a category for them, or they can make an exception of having an area within the 4-H program that they can exhibit certain projects. Let's see, also, just, having access to those public libraries in your community. They all run a summer reading program, and they would be a great resource for them to share access to books. You can also do some virtual field trips, and maybe just within Nebraska, the Omaha Zoo comes to mind as far as providing that live streaming to access to those virtual field trips. Boy Scouts, so we had Boy Scouts that came in and they helped teach students about just outdoor skills and just camping 101. The Girl Scouts, they have curriculum, and then they also have support for students. It's called the outreach program, where they work with after school programs and summer programs on having students kind of work through different badges that is not traditional Girl Scouts. The YMCA, if you have a YMCA in your community, just getting access to the swimming pool and what they have as far as wellness programs. I know we offered some swimming classes for our students in Lexington, and it's amazing how even middle schoolers that they had never been to a swimming pool or they had never had any swimming lessons. So it was nice to see that our program could offer that to our students. And it wasn't free, but it was at very reduced price. What it wouldn't normally call somebody else. And so they were able to do that within a week or two, have some swimming lessons within our program. The Chamber of Commerce, partnering with your chamber, we partner with them to help us with entrepreneurship classes. We run a club called Business Builders, and they were able to tie us into certain businesses that were able to come and talk about local entrepreneurs, but also when they had a festival, a community festival, to have students that were able to sell their products at these festivals without any charge. So it was just another way for them to get their product out there and sell as a entrepreneur. Domestic violence shelters in your community. We had some domestic violence shelter in our community that came in and did. We were able to work with them on service projects, and then they also have curriculum out there that's on like Safe Touch, and that you just indicates Safe Touch, and you do have parents that kind of sign up on that if they're going to be in that program. Region 2, or any kind of, they call them region, well, it's Region 2 or Region 3 or Region 4, just those behavioral health centers. They have curriculum out there, and they also have funding for curriculum called Character Counts, and it's just about making healthy choices when it comes to just, I guess most of it's on character counts, where they have underlying tobacco-free funds that they use for that program. Let's see. Also, I was going to mention, I didn't have on here, but also like STEM mobile labs, like either Beyond School Bells, the TMCs. If you're interested in that, to contact Alana for that. There's also like the fishing trailer that you can check out from Game and Parks, and they will send you they will bring you the trailer that with fishing poles, and so accessing that if you want to have students, when it be a family event fishing, or you want to do a unit on one, like a week or two of fishing. Accessing firefighters where there's about, safety. Beekeepers, I think Nebraska has a lot of curriculum out there on bees and the importance of bees, and so there may be some beekeepers in your area that you could access. I think that would be great for students to learn about that, and the importance, obviously. Most of us would have master gardeners in our area, and so accessing the master gardeners so that they could help you if you're interested in learning about a school garden. They're just those experts in your community that have a wealth of knowledge in horticulture and gardening, and they could help you with starting whether it be, an indoor garden or an outdoor garden, or whatever you want to do, but they'd be a great resource. Also included in here are just those banks, the financial education, coming in about if students wants to know about savings or opening up an account. And also maybe if you're going to do business builders, like an entrepreneur class, maybe what involves as far as a loan and so forth. So we all have banks, so accessing those. And of course, if you have a community college or university nearby, what they're offering as far as STEM projects, or even just access to those university students, college students that might be serving as volunteers in your program. And then food pantries, providing, we do have programs that access this food pantry to provide snacks for after school, or even summer programs, and then possible meals. And of course, taking advantage of your businesses. All of you have businesses in your communities, and asking them to come in and do a career talk, and just even a work site field trip that you can do, multiple of those in an afternoon. Does anybody have any other organizations or businesses that support your summer program? Just from that you can think of that weren't on this list. So I guess it's just important to have these, these community partners that could possibly become partners into the school year, into the fall. They're committing to supporting your school. You're making connections. They're providing some matching resources. They might be providing some grant opportunities, funding, staffing, other supports. And then, of course, just making sure that you form these relationships so that, again, for sustainability reasons. When I used to run the career talks on a new partner, I would normally provide them a form asking them if they would like to get involved in the after-school program in the fall. And they would either indicate, yes, I'm interested, no, not at this time. My business or organization would like to sponsor a club. Or then I'd also ask them if they were interested in receiving like the after-school newsletter that we had, or if they're interested in serving on an advisory committee. So taking advantage of those community partners or businesses that came in and did a career talk. They came into the building, and then I gave them a form or just had a conversation about what their investment or, our involvement would like to be for this fall. Any questions about what we talked about when it comes to summer programming or just finding those resources in your community? If not,
I have one question.
yes, Laron.
You talked earlier in your presentation about training for the staff. And,
About what?
as
About
we
what?
training for your staff or training for the staff, what are some ideas that you have about getting dynamic facilitators or key people in the program to attract the kids? They can have the best resources, but if the adults or the teenagers who are running the program are boring, it's not going to happen. So what suggestions would you have for someone who is looking for somebody to do that, some training needs?
Good question. Good question. Stephanie, Alana, do you want to, I think, I think what comes to mind is, just, I think back to like, a program that we had like skateboarding that, obviously the students wanted to come. They liked the class skateboarding, but it was trying something new, but it was also the individual that made it fun. And so we could tell that obviously by the numbers of some of them repeated from year to year, that if it was in it was a good class, it felt appealing. It was appealing, but yet it was normally a class that was a hit because of the instructor, of their personality. Some of those classes I kind of think back to, I'm trying to think, even like the one on character education, nobody would want to sign up for that, but yet the teacher made it fun. So how sometimes you just have to be a judge as far as like their personality, but as far as training is concerned for those staff, I guess it's hard to, train a staff member that might be a little bit on the dry side, but just motivating them in that, hey, put yourself in those shoes. What would you like? What would be interesting for you when you were a teenager? But I think in the past, I've also had experience with a teacher offering, maybe it was from the summer before or the week before, where they offered and it was a complete flop, and then they modified it and it was a hit the second time around. Stephanie, Alana, do you have anything else to add to that?
Yeah, I agree. Aligning. So when I ran programming, it was a lot smaller than probably what you're used to, Laron. And we had either from 2 weeks to a month, depending on the year of programming. And so I kind of knew who my staff were for the summer. And so I would have conversations with them, and a lot of them were certified teachers. We would have college students that I knew from when they were in high school. And so just conversations with them about, here's what I'm thinking, here are the student interests. So for example, I had a college student who was becoming a teacher. She was helping, and she also played basketball in college. So I had her teach STEM basketball to some of the older students because I know that she had that interest and skill set. I wouldn't have had a staff member that had no idea how to play basketball teach that. And so being in a smaller school district where a lot of people, I feel like I have those relationships and I can kind of select based on that. So that's just one example there. Stephanie, do you have anything, or anyone else?
The only thing I can think of, or one great example is Edgerton Explore It Center. They have high school students and college students create week-long summer camps. They're actually choosing they pay them through the spring to pick the topic, come up with all the activities, write the lesson plans. So they really own it, and then they facilitate it. Now they've kind of created that environment where that can happen. So that's not something you can implement immediately, but I think it ties to what Elena and Patricia said, really tapping into the interests and then building off of that, those facilitation skills, I think is important, because that personality piece and facilitation style doesn't come naturally to everyone.
Yeah.
So building in that skill building for those that need it, but I think launching off of facilitator interest is a super.
That's helpful. Thank you. I mean,
Yeah.
we have a bigger network, but it's still the same. It's getting the right people in place, and sometimes it's great, sometimes it's a flop, but really massaging that. So that's helpful. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Good question. Well, any other questions? And if not, that's all I have for you guys. Thank you for making this being today here present. Appreciate it. We'll see you next month.
Well, April.
In
Oh, that's
Lincoln.
right. Not
Hopefully.
Yeah, we'll be at the Innovation
see you at the
Invitational.
innovation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if you can, yeah. All right. Thanks,
Yeah.
everyone.
Thank
Bye.
you. Thank you. Bye-bye.